What is up, everyone, and welcome to another edition of the YouTube channel. As normal, today we're going to be talking about superheroes because, of course, that is what we are here for. This channel is nothing but awesome superhero content that I really hope y'all enjoy. And today, I have a really good feeling about the video because it pretty much comes exactly from you guys. So, earlier this week, I went on TikTok where I was wanting to have nothing but the hottest takes possible. I went on the live, talked directly to my followers, and I was looking for 20 of the hottest superhero takes out there. And you guys absolutely delivered. Y'all gave me some awesome ones that I'm very, very excited to talk about today. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into it. So, the first one that I have is that the Avengers could beat the Justice League. Now, for most of these hot takes, it is going to be pretty much Marvel versus DC, DC versus Marvel in some sort of capacity, because it seems like us as superhero fans, early on we do kind of choose a side, and we let that more or less impact how we're going to view most of superhero dynamics in the first place. So, of course, with the Justice League and the Avengers, there's so many different members. So what I had to do was, of course, figure out first who tends to be the characters that we think of for the most part that we can agree upon as being, so to speak, the base to be expected members of that team. And for the Avengers, I came down to Iron Man, Captain America, Hulk, Thor, Ant-Man, and Vision. Those were the six, especially comic related, that we think of when we think of the Avengers. Of course, the movies went with a different direction, with Hawkeye, Black Widow, but when it comes to comics, those are the six that we tend to think about the most, especially with the Avengers as a long-term run. Very similar. I also looked into the Justice League, leaning more towards the comics than I did the movies, and the six that I got for that was Green Lantern, Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, The Flash, and Aquaman. So what I did for this hot takes is I basically matched these characters up into what I feel like would be the most fun matchup. Obviously, there's going to be some glaring weaknesses in one of the teams as we continue to go down this, but for the most part, I tried to do my best in matching them up according to what matchups made the most sense. So, starting off, I did Iron Man versus Green Lantern. This is a very interesting one because the main component of this fight is going to be tech. Now, of course, Iron Man has his Iron Man suit and all the different capabilities that it gives him. Green Lantern's suit also, not Green Lantern's suit, Green Lantern's ring, also of course tech, granting him a wide range of abilities depending on basically whatever he can come up with. And yes, since we're talking about Green Lantern, I'm going to be more inclined to talk about Hal Jordan. Now, in a straight-up fight, I think this would be very interesting. Of course, Iron Man being much more of a technology-based attack, blasts, missiles, things along those lines, while also the suit, of course, grants him enhanced strength and durability. Now, when it comes to the Green Lanterns, they have probably one of the most unique power sets in all of comics, period, because it is basically whatever you can think of, the ring is going to do that. If Hal Jordan so desired, he could come up with a mech suit off the top of his mind and use that to fight Iron Man, or he could choose any other possible outcomes that he could really want to. For this specific fight, I lean towards more random encounter than prep time. Because obviously once you bring up a character like Iron Man, you're going to want to bring up prep time, so I decided to eliminate that. And in my opinion, just these two guys going head-to-head, I lean more towards Green Lantern because of the wide array of ways that he could really attack this fight, even in a random encounter opportunity. We're going to give the Justice League a slight advantage in this fight because of Green Lantern being over Iron Man, in my opinion. We then move on to Captain America versus Batman. This was a fight that we actually did get to see in the Justice League and Avengers crossover. We saw Batman and Captain America fight for a little bit, and it was a very interesting fight. They went blow for blow. Neither one of them could really get an early advantage. However, the deciding factor in my mind for determining who would win this battle comes in that very same edition, where Batman admits, yes, Captain America will eventually wear me down. He will eventually beat me. Why is that? Well, of course, it's because Cap has the super serum, and Batman does not. Captain America is going to have enhanced strength and enhanced durability, and even with Batman being peak human, he cannot compete with that super soldier serum. So in this instance, I am giving Captain America the edge over Batman. We then move on to Hulk versus Superman. There's a reason this is one of the most highly debated matchups of all time. It is raw power versus raw power, but also more versatility on top. In a random encounter, it's tough to say who wins. It really is. And this is actually a matchup I will be talking about later on. And since there is no absolute correct answer with this, of course, if you're a Batman fan or if you're a Superman fan, you're going to say Superman. If you're a Hulk fan, you're going to say Hulk. I get that. Taking out bias, I think you cannot positively call this matchup. If we could, this wouldn't have been such a highly debated topic over the course of Superman and Hulk's history. So with this one, I'm going to give a distinctive draw, which might sound boring, but I'll jump into it in more detail later. We then go to Thor versus Wonder Woman. This is another one that pops up fairly often. People do put Wonder Woman in the same kind of tier ranking as a Shazam, Black Adam, Superman type league, and for good reason. She's very powerful. Obviously, she's a great combatant, and she has her own different ways that she can go about attacking. She is a very legitimate superhero. In my mind, she doesn't really hold a candle to Thor. Do I think that she could compete with Thor, and do I think it could be a good fight? Absolutely. I think a good reason for that is I think she does have a speed advantage over Thor, and I also do think that she has maybe a bit of a combat advantage, whereas Thor seems to be more of a brute force fighter. Wonder Woman seems to be more tactical in the way that she goes about things. However, I do think Thor, with the combat experience that he has, as well as the raw strength, having Mjolnir, having magic on his side, I do think he would take out Wonder Woman. Not necessarily easily, but I think he could do it decently. These last two matchups might be where it becomes a little fishy. Because if you remember, the last two that we have up for the Avengers squad is going to be Ant-Man and Vision, and the last two we have up for the Justice League squad is going to be Flash versus Aquaman, which means one of these two heroes has to fight the Flash, which is not necessarily going to be easy. In this specific matchup, I put Ant-Man against the Flash. Ant-Man's unique, obviously. Maybe not in the grand scheme of things, because also DC has their own version of Ant-Man in the Atom. But going up against the Flash, I literally see there being nothing Ant-Man can do. Either when he's regular size, when he's giant size, or when he is, of course, ant-sized. His best advantage in this fight is going to be if he does go giant-sized. But even then, I see no reason to suggest the Flash wouldn't be able to take care of him decently early on in that fight. Ant-Man does not have the necessary reaction time to deal with a full-scale running at maximum velocity Flash. So I give Flash a very distinct, and perhaps this is the easiest I have been able to declare a victory for anyone, Flash over Ant-Man. We then go to Aquaman versus Vision. Aquaman gets clowned on. A lot. He doesn't necessarily deserve it. Is he the greatest superhero of all time? No. Is he a pushover? No. There's plenty of other superheroes who Aquaman could absolutely thrash around and throw all over the place. There's also a decent amount of superheroes who could do that to Aquaman. Now, in terms of Aquaman going up against Vision, I give Vision the advantage. Martian Manhunter and Vision would be a much better matchup, but again, we're going after the classic teams here, and Aquaman has been more featured with the Justice League than typically Martian Manhunter has. And that's why I made this matchup. Vision just, to me, has too many different wide range of abilities. I don't think Aquaman would be able to beat Vision pretty much in any circumstance other than perhaps an underwater fight. And being that would be the only way Aquaman would stand a chance in an underwater fight, I can't give it to Aquaman based off that. So, what we have at this moment, we have Green Lantern, I'm going to call Hulk and Superman a wash. I'm going to take them both out of the fight. So we have Green Lantern, we have the Flash. And then for Team Avengers, we have Captain America, we have Thor, and we have Vision. So it then becomes Captain America, Thor, Vision versus Green Lantern and the Flash, 3-2 in favor of Marvel, in favor of the Avengers here. So while I do think that the Justice League could take out the Avengers, I also think there's situations in which the Avengers could take out the Justice League. So if I had to give this hot take a hot or a not rating, I'd say this is a hot rating. I think that there's a good chance that this could be something that happens where the Avengers are able to take out the Justice League, but I think the Justice League could also have just as easy of a chance to take out the Avengers. It just comes down to who wins what matchups. If Superman beats Hulk, if Hulk beats Superman, we may be looking at a completely different outcome here. The next hot take we jump to is Deathstroke beating Captain America. I do like this hot take as well. This is a very interesting one. I think this is a better matchup than what most people normally propose, and it is a Batman versus Captain America matchup. Obviously, that's going to be the one people more so run to because those are much more popular characters, Batman and Captain America. But as I just discussed, I think Captain America just has too much of an advantage given his durability, his strength, and the fact that he is also a tactical genius. Like, he understands combat, he understands it well. I think Deathstroke and Cap is a much, much better suited matchup and much more even, because Deathstroke does basically have his own super soldier serum, and while it is not on the level of Cap, it does give him that enhanced durability, enhanced strength, and it also gives him a little bit of a healing factor. I believe, I could be mistaken, so fact check me on this, I believe when there was a Marvel DC crossover, Deathstroke was the person assigned to basically lead the attack against the enemies in that run. It wasn't Cap, it was Deathstroke, which seems to suggest that as intelligent as Captain America is in combat and tactical knowledge, Deathstroke might actually have a slight advantage on him in that. So we have to factor that into this fight as well. Deathstroke, if he had prep time, probably has a way of taking down Captain America. But again, this is going to be under the assumption of random encounter. And still, I do think Captain America, even though it's less of an advantage this time because Deathstroke does have his own super soldier serum, I still think Cap would come out on the winning end of this fight. So if I had to give this a hot or not, I think it could happen. I think there's a better chance that Cap does win this one though. So I'm going to give this a not take. We then move on to Captain America is underrated and beats Batman. A lot of Captain America related ones so far. We're going to see that change in a little bit. But I've already kind of given my opinion on this. I do think Captain America beats Batman. I do think Captain America is underrated, which is one of these hot takes. Captain America is underrated. A lot of times when I do King of the Hill videos on TikTok and Captain America comes up with someone who does outclass him in terms of power, I take into account that he's Captain America. He consistently takes out people who are dramatically above his weight class. And why can he do that? It's because he's a tactical genius. It's because he's a combatant. It's because he does have enhanced durability and enhanced strength. And while he may be at a distinct advantage in terms of power, there's a lot of times that he comes out on top specifically because he's Captain America. So I do agree that Captain America beats Batman, and I also heavily agree that Captain America is a dramatically underrated character. I give this a hot take. Next up, and this one, I'm not going to lie, this one kind of took me back a little bit. Not because it's a terrible take, but just because I have never heard this take before. This one suggests that the Teen Titans could beat the Fantastic Four. The Fantastic Four, obviously there's no debate on what makes up the Fantastic Four. It is Reed Richards, Sue Storm, Johnny Storm, and of course the Thing. With the Teen Titans, there is a little bit of disparity, but I tend to go with the one that people more so agree on. And being that I also did watch the show growing up, I'm going to agree with it as well. It consists of Robin, Starfire, Beast Boy, Cyborg, and Raven. I think the most difficult part of this fight for the Teen Titans is the fact that the Fantastic Four offers a wide range of abilities. You have Reed, who is, of course, extremely intelligent, but also with his elasticity. You have Sue Storm, who, of course, has her force fields and all the different ways that she can use that, as well as going invisible, of course. You can't forget that. You have the Thing, who is a brute force, incredibly durable character, and you have Johnny Storm, who can attack from the sky. Of course, he's inflamed. He's engulfed in flames. He's a great character as well. The advantage, and if I had to choose one character as really being the advantage for the Teen Titans, it is going to be Raven, because of how insane her magical abilities can be. Normally, I would very easily give this to the Fantastic Four, but with Raven being there, that's the issue. can Raven use some of her magical abilities to take them out of the fight? Because she is an extremely powerful magic user. If there was any, I'm talking 10 minutes of prep time, I give this to the Fantastic Four very easily. However, if there's not, and it's a random encounter, Raven being on the team is a problem. I think this could actually go either way, but due to the experience, I am going to lean towards the Fantastic Four here, and I am going to give this a not take. I do think they can win. I just think the Fantastic Four probably win 9 times out of 10 in this circumstance. The next one that I have is that Thor and Hulk no diff, Superman and Wonder Woman. So I again don't want to jump too much into the Hulk Superman debate because we'll get into that in a little while. Because any time that you bring up hot takes, that matchup is going to be brought up. Obviously, I've already given my opinion on Thor versus Wonder Woman. I guess the problem is here is the word no diff, or the 2 words no diff. In no realm do I think that Thor and Hulk can no diff Superman and Wonder Woman. Could they beat them? I think they could. I think they have a decent chance. Could Superman and Wonder Woman beat Thor and Hulk? I think they could. I think they have a decent chance. So the problem here isn't you suggesting that Hulk and Thor could beat them, but rather that they no diff them. No diff is a wild take. And because of those 2 little words, I am giving this a not take. That one's crazy to me. Number 6 is that the Reverse Flash is the best villain in all of fiction. When it comes to something like this, the best, the worst, it's much more a matter of opinion. I've heard people say that Thor is a terrible character, and I've heard some other people say that Thor is a fantastic character. When it comes down to opinions like this, it's tough to say. So when we talk about best villains of all time and the Reverse Flash is thrown in there, I think he has an argument for being at least in the conversation. He absolutely ruins Barry's life on a consistent basis. There's hardly pretty much any people who are as against their superhero as Reverse Flash is. That dude will go out of his way. He will ruin his own day to make sure that Barry's day is ruined. So if you're going to talk about best villains in fiction, I feel like it's fair to throw him in that conversation. Obviously, we have other people who can be thrown in that conversation. Darth Vader, Thanos, Darkseid, any plethora of amazing villains throughout all of fiction itself. So again, it's a matter of opinion, but if you really look at Reverse Flash as a character, he is a fantastic villain. So I will give this one a hot take. I think this is a good take. Reverse Flash is one of the best villains probably in fiction. Is he number 1? Maybe not, but of course that is up to your own opinion. This is much more an opinionated take than the rest of them. Number 7. This is the one that I've been saying that we're going to get to, and it is Hulk versus Superman. This is interesting. Very interesting. Because the Hulk is a brute force character who basically offers nothing else. He's fast, he's durable, but of course his main attraction is going to be his immeasurable, basically unlimited strength. The catch about the Hulk is that he starts off not weak because he's the Hulk, but he starts off on a much lower level. It takes the Hulk getting angrier and angrier and angrier before that strength really begins to elevate to an insane level. Of course, Superman doesn't have that advantage / weakness. It could kind of be seen as a double-edged sword there. Superman obviously doesn't get angrier with time, but at the same time, he's going to be a consistent strength throughout. You cannot find him at a weakened state most of the time, and on top of that, he's faster than Hulk, and he has a wide range of abilities that he can take advantage of. The Hulk, he has amazing durability, yes. He also has one of the best healing factors in comic books, period. You know that guy Wolverine that everyone tends to think about, also Deadpool that everyone tends to think about in terms of healing factors? The Hulk's is even better, and that's not an exaggeration. So on top of his insane durability, if Superman, and he probably can, pierce his skin, cause any sort of damage, which I know that he can, Hulk's going to heal from it. So the problem is here with this fight is there's a way that Superman can win, and there's a way that Hulk can win. Superman would need to take him out early. I'm talking early in this fight. I think that's the only way Superman can do anything in this situation, is catching Hulk before he's able to get angry. The longer this fight goes on, the more it is going to be basically on the Hulk's terms. He's going to continue to heal, he's going to continue to get angrier, and he's going to continue to get stronger. So, the win advantages is that Superman can win if he takes him out early. If the fight continues to last, I don't think Superman can take him out, because Hulk's going to keep getting angrier, he's going to continue to heal over time, and Superman really doesn't have that kind of a healing factor that comes into a play. Hulk is eventually going to wear him down if it comes to it. So overall, the take was that Hulk beats Superman. I think that's a hot take. I think that's a good take to have, and I think that's a very realistic thing that can happen. Of course, if you're a Superman fan, you absolutely hate me now, but that's it. That is what it is, I guess. We have, and this one's interesting, Captain America over Superman, not in a fight, dear Lord, no, but more so in terms of heroism. This is very similar to the Reverse Flash one that we talked about. I think this is a matter of pure opinion. I think the thing about Superman's character that, and probably the reason you're going to see him pop up again and again and again on this list, is he's polarizing because of how super he is. Some people think that the Boy Scout approach and the simple fact that he's overpowered makes him boring, whereas other people argue that he is the definitive superhero, he brings hope, and he is an absolute powerhouse. I think points can be made on either side. I don't hate Superman. Is he my favorite? No. Do I like other DC characters in Marvel over him? Absolutely. But do I think Superman is a pushover? Absolutely not. Captain America, I do prefer Captain America over Superman. I'm going to admit bias here on this specific take, because Captain America is my favorite superhero, point blank period. There's runners up, but in terms of toppling Captain America for my number one spot, it can't be done. He's the guy. So if you were to ask me who is the definitive definition of a superhero, someone who picks it up morality, their character screams superhero, to me it's Captain America. To others, it may be Superman. They're similar characters in terms of their morality. Captain America, of course, because he doesn't have those invulnerabilities and he's much more lower on the power scale, to me makes him more brave and heroic of a character. But I don't think that you can definitively say that Captain America is a better suited hero than Superman. But, of course, in terms of it being an opinion, I'm not going to give it a not take. I will be giving it a hot take, simply because, like I said, this is a much more opinionated take than some of the others that we will be going over today. Next up, we have, and I'm going to let you know, I agree with this one. Speed blitzing is a cop-out. I absolutely agree. I think speed blitzing is one of the worst things that has been introduced to the mind of a comic book or any sort of superhero genre lover. I hate it. If speed blitzing was as insane as it was, at no point throughout comic book history, animated history, movie history, would we have ever seen a Flash lose a fight. We have seen Flash get tossed around in numerous instances. We have seen the Flash lose fights to people who don't even have any sort of measure of super speed. Speed blitzing is a cop-out. I think it's an easy way for people to say, no, this character could win this fight because he's faster, and that's as deep as they want to go in their analysis, and they don't want to go any deeper. Anytime the Flash pops up in one of my King of the Hill videos on TikTok, I give him his respect. But if there's a character that I think poses a legitimate threat, I'm not going to give it to Flash simply because of speed blitz. I think that is an extremely easy cop-out. Sorry to all the Flash fans out there. Flash is legit. At the same time, there was actually a recent comic book run where basically the Justice League members have their own Justice League cards, and it gives them a power scaling. Superman was at 100, and I think Flash was somewhere in the 70s. That's rough. And of course, this is not just targeted to Flash fans. This is a pretty much debate anytime someone with any measure of super speed comes up in a fight. I think super speed is a very, very wimpy cop-out. I agree with this one. I think that this is a good hot take. Next one we have is that Vision low diffs Martian Manhunter. Again, the issue with this is low diff. first of all, I want to clarify. I don't think Vision beats Martian Manhunter. I think Martian Manhunter has more abilities. I think he's stronger. I think he's more durable. I think shape-shifting and the fact that he can also do Vision's main thing, which is intangibility, gives Martian Manhunter the advantage over Vision. So, for you to say that Vision no-diffs him or even low-diffs him, I think is massively disrespectful. I think Martian Manhunter takes him out. If Vision were able to take Martian Manhunter out, it would be with extreme difficulty, not low difficulty by any measure. I think this is a not take. Let's then move on to Silver Surfer and Superman. Similar to the Hulk and Superman, this is also a much debated one. This one's more of a multi-dimensional fight than Hulk and Superman, because of course Hulk and Superman comes down to strength versus other measures, basically is what that kind of comes down to. This one's more nuanced, because of course the Silver Surfer has power cosmic. He's much faster than the Hulk, although probably not quite as fast as Superman. He might have better travel speed, but I don't think he has the combat speed to meet Superman at that level. I think he can keep up, but I don't think they're necessarily dead even. Power Cosmic is an insane ability. It gives you a wide range of how you can properly use that. Obviously, energy blasts, force field projections, any sort of way that you want to use it, it works really, really well. Of course, Superman is one of the most ability-gifted superheroes in existence. Flight, super speed, strength, durability, heat blast, frost breath. There's even some people saying that he might have extremely low levels of telepathy, which help him keep his disguise under wraps. It's a cool theory. I don't know if it's ever been necessarily confirmed, but I could see where that might come into play a little bit. Like I said, this one's tough. This one's a lot tougher. I do think this is a fight that could definitively and truthfully go either way. I don't think I can absolutely crown a number one winner in this circumstance. I think Silver Surfer has everything at his disposal to take out Superman. I think Superman has everything at his disposal to take out Silver Surfer. So, in terms of this, I will keep this at a hot take because I do think Silver Surfer could beat Superman, but it's a toss-up. Next up, Superman. You're going to see a lot of Superman, by the way. Superman beats Scarlet Witch. So this one's interesting because normally when you see these two characters brought up, the hot take is that Scarlet Witch beats Superman. So this person's hot take is that Superman beats Scarlet Witch. Let's go ahead and get it out of the way. Superman does have a vulnerability to magic. Obviously, it's not at the same level of kryptonite. Kryptonite is a legitimate glaring weakness that Superman has. It is not the same thing with magic. Magic is simply a vulnerability. It is something that you can use to potentially take him out. Obviously, there's not many characters in existence that can do magic as well as the Scarlet Witch. She has chaos magic. She has hex bolts. She has reality warping abilities. She's legitimate. The thing about Scarlet Witch that people constantly bring up is the fact that they can just basically say, oh, she can just erase this person from existence immediately because of the whole no more mutants thing, or in the movie, though, oh, what mouth thing. Again, I think that's a cop-out similar to the Speed Blitz situation. If Scarlet Witch was able to do that to her enemies, she would legitimately become one of these most boring characters in existence. If she was just able to walk around and be like, oh, you want to fight me? You don't exist anymore. That's not how it works, guys. I hate to say it. She was amped in a lot of situations where she said no more mutants, but I don't think she can just walk around and be like, you, gone, especially with more powerful characters like that of Superman. Superman's main advantage here, and Scarlet Witch's glaring weakness here, is going to be speed and reaction time. Superman is capable of traveling at light speed. Scarlet Witch's reaction time is going to be most likely human level, maybe slightly above, but I don't see her being able to keep up with Superman. This is one of those situations where Speed Blitz might actually not be as much of a cop-out answer as it's been used in the past necessarily. I do think Superman has a chance at legitimately speed blitzing her because she does not have the ability to keep up. Now, the definitive way of talking about this fight is distance. If Superman can close that distance before she can even lift a finger, fight's over. If there is some distance and she's able to start the fight and engage the fight herself, she could potentially win, especially given Superman's vulnerability to magic and that being her main thing. Do I think Superman beats Scarlet Witch? Yes. Do I think there's instances that Scarlet Witch could beat Superman? Yes. I think that this isn't a 50-50 fight. I think Superman beats her 8 times out of 10, but I do think there's situations in which Scarlet Witch can win this fight, notably going to be distance and reaction time. So, in terms of Superman beating Scarlet Witch, I think that can happen. I will give this a hot take. I think this is a good take to have. Next up, we have The Flash beats the Hulk. Oh my god. Speed Blitz. He's so fast. You couldn't see him coming. Dude, shut up. Shut up. There's certain situations where that's not going to matter. I'm not really sure how much damage over time Flash could do to the Hulk. I'm going to be completely honest here, guys. Yes, I know that Flash has his insane punch that he can do. I think it can hurt Hulk. I don't think it's taking him out. Again, healing factor. Again, durability. Again, getting angrier. If the Flash is just running around Hulk punching him a bunch of times, you don't think that's going to make the Hulk pretty daggum upset to the point that he might just stomp on the ground, disrupt what Barry's running on, catch him, and then end the fight immediately? I think this is a bad take. I'm going to be honest. I think Hulk just outclasses Barry just in terms of raw power alone. I'm giving this a not take. We then go Aquaman beats Wolverine. Oh, man. This one's interesting because of the trident. Aquaman's trident is legit. Aquaman's trident is capable of piercing Superman, who, of course, is pretty much invulnerable to a lot of things like that. That is interesting when you begin to talk about this idea that maybe, the trident could pierce Wolverine's adamantium skeleton. The question is not, can it pierce his skin? Because Wolverine's skin doesn't really have that much durability, but it's his skeleton. Could he pierce the skeleton with that trident? And if that does happen, how would Wolverine's healing factor deal with that? Overall, I want to give the advantage to Wolverine here. Obviously because the adamantium claws, the adamantium skeleton. Obviously because of a great healing factor. But there's also one other main big reason that people don't really talk about when it comes to Wolverine. He is such an experienced combatant. He's an amazing combatant. He has amazing hand-to-hand abilities. People don't really think of that because when they think about Wolverine, they think about him losing control and just being this wild animal that's just going after you. Wolverine knows so many different combat techniques. He's one of the people that helped train Black Widow. Wolverine is a great, fantastic combatant. He's not a wild animal most of the time, just going after you any way that he can. He's a bit of a tactician. He has good battle IQ. And I think that is going to give him the advantage over Aquaman. Being able to heal over time, being able that he has such a strong adamantium skeleton, and it is a legitimate question whether or not the trident could pierce that. I'm leaning towards Wolverine for this advantage. I'm going to give this one a not take. I don't think Aquaman stands too much of a chance. I do think he could win some fights, maybe 3 out of 10, but I'm giving the Wolverine most of the advantage here. We then go to this one, and this is more of a topic that's become much more popular in recent times. Spider-Man clears Gotham in 10 hours. I think there's such an interesting dynamic between Spider-Man's Rogue Gallery and Batman's Rogue Gallery. Batman's Rogue Gallery, in terms of power, I do think they're on the lower side, but in terms of like being able to mentally screw you up, they're high. I do think Peter deals with that a little bit, especially with like Green Goblin, Chameleon, people who do rely on a bit of mind games. But I also agree that those characters, Rhino, Green Goblin, Venom, Carnage, I think those characters are much higher up on the power scale. Do I think that Spider-Man could clear Gotham in 10 hours? I think he has the power necessary to do it. I think characters like Bane that Batman struggles with would not be that much of a struggle for Spider-Man. I think characters like Mr. Freeze may be more of a struggle for Spider-Man. Do I think he could clear Gotham in 10 hours? No. I think he could clear a decent amount of Batman's rogue gallery because he has the power necessary to do it. But let's say he goes on this rampage or whatever, he takes out a couple superheroes, or supervillains rather, and then Joker catches wind of it, and Joker starts doing his little Joker thing where he just comes up with the absolute most horrendous, devious plan of all time. And all of a sudden, Spider-Man comes face to face with the Joker and something terrible happens and he is just broken immediately. I don't think 10 hours is enough time. Maybe give him a week to kind of deal with some of the mental anguish that might come along with Batman's rogue galleries. Maybe a week before they're all in prison. But no, I do not think that Spider-Man could take out Gotham in 10 hours. I'm going to give this one a not take. Number 16, and this one hurt my heart when they said it, but I did want to include it. And they say that Batman is not a top 5 street level character. Shut your mouth. Shut your mouth, you jabroni. I don't like that take. I don't like it. If you would have clarified and said that he's not top 5 street level in terms of power, you know what? Maybe you have a case there. Maybe you have a legitimate case, because obviously other street level characters like Captain America, Deathstroke, some people throw Spider-Man into that. I'm not sure if he belongs there. They're going to be more powerful than him. I definitely think Batman cracks the top 5 best. I don't know. If we're talking about power, he doesn't crack top 5. If we're talking just top 5 in general, without like any specificity, I think you're wrong. I think Batman is top 5, probably top 2. If you include Spider-Man in that, Spider-Man's going to be above him, just in terms of like, you know, the superhero big 3, so to speak, is Superman, Batman, and Spider-Man. How is he going to be in the superhero big 3 and not be in the top 5 in street level? Come on, man. I give that one a not take. Hot take number 17, we got 3 more to go after this one, is that the strongest member of the Justice League is Martian Manhunter. Of course, there is a wider range of characters who are Justice League members. I don't think this is a bad take. I think in terms of having a wide range of abilities, I would take Manhunter over someone like Superman. I would take him over someone like The Flash. I would take him over someone like Firestorm. Martian Manhunter can shapeshift. He has strength, flight, durability, telepathy, intangibility. He's OP. People don't really talk about him because he's not as popular, obviously, as like Batman, Wonder Woman, Superman. He might be more powerful than all of them. I think Martian Manhunter could beat Superman 6 times out of 10. I think it's close, but I do want to give the edge to Martian Manhunter. I think he is crazy powerful. And I think to say that he might be one of the most, or in this case, the strongest member of the Justice League, isn't that much of a stretch. I give this one a hot take. I like this one. We next move on to Reed Richards solos the Justice League with prep time. I think the biggest thing to help support this argument might be the Maker. The Maker, of course, pretty much through extended prep time, was able to prepare for a whole heck of a lot of stuff. He was able to defeat Thor. With that, he also had an army on his side. And pretty much the element of surprise as well. Later on, when they went back, you could kind of argue that Tony Stark kind of took away all of that without putting on the suit. I mean, yeah, he did have a virus that ended up kind of infecting the city to a, if you want to call it that, to a weird extent, which dramatically crippled the Maker. But Iron Man wasn't really Iron Man at that moment, you know? So I think if you gave Reed Richards prep time, he could give the Justice League a bit of a headache. Amanda Waller was able to take out the Justice League with prep time. Of course, she didn't do it. She had a team, but still prep time was involved, but that's also multiple members. Do I think that Reed Richards could walk in there by himself, even with prep time, and take out all of them? I really don't think so. I don't think so. I don't think he could solo the Justice League by himself, even with prep time. He would need help. in some form of another. Therefore, I'm going to give this take a not take. We then go to DCEU Soups beats MCU Avengers. So, of course, this is going to be Henry Cavill versus the MCU Avengers. The problem with that is MCU Avengers have Thor and Hulk. Just based on that alone, Superman flies in. He's going up against Thor, Iron Man, Captain America, Hulk, Black Widow, Hawkeye. Hawkeye and Black Widow might as well not even be there. It's pretty much going to be Hulk, Thor, Iron Man, kind of Captain America against Superman. I don't think Superman could do that. I think Hulk and Thor together are going to be too much for him to just fly in there and take, along with Tony Stark's Iron Man just kind of getting in a lick every now and then. Maybe Captain America just throwing his shield and bashing him in the face every once in a while. I don't think he could solo that team. I do think he would need the rest of his members to adequately do that. So I'm going to give this one a not take. I do not agree with this one. And our final one is that the Joker could pick up Mjolnir. This was an interesting one. I've never thought about this. People have been talking about for a long time who could not pick up Mjolnir, who would be able to properly wield it. And the thing is, not too many people are able to give a definitive, this is what makes you worthy, this is what makes you not. I think a consistent thing that you see across the board with people who have been able to pick up Mjolnir, for the most part, other than a couple of exceptions, is more or less moral alignment. They tend to be more on the side of good. They tend to have strong moralities about themselves, and that tends to be the main deciding factor. Joker is a straight-up agent of chaos. He doesn't align anywhere on a morality chart because he's so unpredictable. I genuinely think Joker might save a puppy who's like drowning in a river, only to then do horrific mutations on it and make it some weird, terrible creature. You can't definitively say where Joker is going to, where his mental state is going to be at any given time, other than he's just straight up chaotic and crazy. Therefore, just based on that, I don't think he could pick up Mjolnir, because I think there needs to be a definitive alignment, more so on the good side of things in terms of morality, and Joker simply just is not that. Well, guys, those were my 20 hot takes that I got from TikTok. Feel free to leave more hot takes in the comments. Let me know what you think. I'm sure other comments will also let you know what they think. But thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see y'all next time. Bye.